From the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today I'm very pleased joining me, Ken Pomella. Ken, thank you very much for joining me on the show today. The way I love to do it is I keep it to my guests to introduce themselves. So tell us a bit more about you, your journey, what you are up to. The floor is yours, Ken.
Absolutely. So I've been in tech pretty much my whole life. Even as a small child, I was exposed to technology. My parents were in the field. There's pictures of me playing on the computer. I think about far back is probably 2 years old. Just been enthused with tech my whole life. Went from kind of building my own computers to helping people design websites to seeking a career in software engineering to ultimately end up starting my own company. And obviously, as tech has evolved, we went from purely being a software development shop to now being able to help folks with AI, especially generative AI. So the journey never stops when you're in tech. On the personal side, I was born in Chicago. I now live in Tampa, Florida. So I started the company once I moved down here to Tampa, and kind of as the city's grown here, the tech scene has grown. We've grown right along with it. So it's exciting times to both be not only in tech, but also here in the city of Tampa.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends who lives in Tampa, and they tell me how nice the city is, and I've seen some videos as well. It's indeed a nice place, and it's like a booming from tech perspective as well. So good place to be in right time to be also as well. So Ken, of course, AI is it's like I would say like there is no conversation where AI will not be mentioned, of course. But from someone who comes like you have a lot of experience from technology perspective. So for you, why, you think that we should care about AI, first of all, like as technologists, I'm saying. And, you choose also to become kind of a specialist in this field. So while, of course, someone might say, hey, but there are a lot of other things out there. So, someone would say quantum computing, someone would say blockchain, someone would say like many other things that are going around. But why did you choose AI, and why we should be caring about having this conversation about AI outside, of course, the hype and the buzzwords?
Yeah, AI will be one of those technologies that's like the internet, right? It'll change everything. I think blockchain's a great technology, AR, VR, these are great technologies, right? IoT. But AI will be infused in all of them, right? So when you think about, take AR, VR, being able to put augmented reality glasses to good use with AI, I can go in and fix my own car because it gives me a walkthrough in my goggles, right? Or you can do assisted surgeries, things like that. So the applications of AI kind of are intertwined in everything. So all those other technologies are good, but this one's going to be one of those technologies that really changes everything. We'll all look back in years the same way we look back at the internet and are like, how did we live our lives without AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So now, because when we think about technology, especially from business perspective, we try to think about the benefits, right? And one of these benefits that AI is promising us, and actually some organizations, they start to figure it out, it's like the business growth. Now, if you want to tackle this, what do you think, the strategic approaches for businesses looking to integrate AI? So what do you think, like the first step that they should be taking, and what are like some of the common pitfalls that they have to avoid?
I think it really depends on the size of the business. If you're a small business, low hanging fruit things like content generation, right? You can get a lot more content out there. There's AI tools that help you engage more on social media. So, if you depending on the size you are, you might want to start with those basics. If you're a larger company, building more custom solutions like we do at RevStar. So taking the data that you have and, finding a really good model that makes sense and being able to automate more things in your business will save you a lot of money, a lot of time. So it just depends where you're at. I think, the pitfalls are, it's like the Wild West out there. You're not sure where to start. You're not sure what tools to use. So a lot of this is taking the time to do the research or finding a good partner who can help you. But yeah, it just really depends where you're at in your journey. And you also want to make sure, you're digesting content that's meeting you where you're at. You're working with partners that are meeting you where you're at. You don't want someone coming into your 5-person business and telling you need to build custom virtual agents to automate, parts of your business when you're not doing very basic things like automating your content publishing or automating your customer service. So, really finding a good strategy and working with someone who can help you with that strategy and doing it in a pragmatic way is one of the pitfalls or one of the things you have to look out for.
You mentioned something which also I discussed with a lot of my guests who specialize in the AI space. So there is this misconception, I would say, that AI is just a chatbot, right? So one of the things, okay, ChatGPT is an awesome tool, and OpenAI, they did fantastic job. But I think one of the, I would say, like, point that I little bit get disappointed by is that now when you talk to people about AI, they think only about the chatbot, right? So they think about it as just from a tool that you can generate content out of it. But now, of course, AI is much more than this. So this is why, and you have this, experience in your career, Ken. So where do you see, AI being implemented when it comes, from integrating with the core processes of a business, like, and also what are the preparations? So because one of the things that also we talked about here on the show, but I like to hear your opinion, and you mentioned actually, but let's deep dive a little bit. If I'm not ready with, for example, my digital transformation, if I didn't complete, digitizing all my processes, would I be able to use the AI? Like, there must be some steps I need to take first, so then I can really harness, the power that AI can give me. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's, again, depending where you're at, right? So if you don't have really well-defined processes, if you don't have your data clean in a centralized place, it's tough to build custom AI, right? So, that's where you may want to reach for more low-hanging fruit content generation, the chat bots like you mentioned. And there's even AI contact centers where someone calls in and has a live conversation with an AI customer service rep. Those are very easy things. Larger customers are, we're seeing the push to clean their data, right? They have so many disparate systems. How do I get it in one place? How do I, make it meaningful? So that's a really important part. If you're in that kind of small to medium business, your digital transformation, you may be any different place along that journey. If you're at the very beginning, you may not have systems in place that allow you to take data and centralize it. If you're more in that medium, range, you might have data in different third-party systems, maybe a custom system or two, but it's spread out all over the place. So again, this is why I said you have to work with someone who can help you make sense of all of that and come up with a good plan. But yeah, there's a lot of prep work there, right? You can't just, I'll turn on AI and it'll magically start doing things for you. You can go to different areas of your business where you do have good documentation and do have good data and start there. That makes a lot of sense, instead of trying to kind of tackle everything at once. Where can you, take where there are good processes and well-defined processes and you have the data and it's easily accessible. So those are some of the things, like I said, you want to work with somebody who can help you kind of roadmap that out.
That's great, Ken. Now, as a business owner, and think about me, and I know like maybe you do this with a lot of your clients. So me being the business owner who understand just numbers, right? And maybe I'm interested, maybe not, in understanding the nitty gritty, as they say, of the technology. How I can measure the success of an AI implementation for my business. And here, what role do you play as a mentor, consultant, whatever title you might use, Ken? So tell me about this aspect. Me as a business owner, how do I measure, and how you can help from your perspective the business owner to understand if what they implemented actually it gave the result that they were aiming for.
Again, I think that's another one. Where are they at in their journey? If they have really well-defined KPIs, then these tools and technology should help that, right? So if you look at you're in customer service, your turnaround time, how quickly do you answer the phone? How quickly do you resolve issues? These AI tools can answer the phone quicker. They can clear out low-hanging fruit faster, right? So that's an easy use case. But we have a customer, they do a lot of manual dispatching. They're in logistics. So being able to dispatch faster, more accurately with better results, those are KPIs they're measuring. So it's easy to plug into those and go, okay, look, if, with this, you can go from here to here very easily. And then you're able to benchmark it because you can compare month over month. If you don't have those KPIs, that's really where you need to start. So if you're a smaller business and you haven't gotten that far where you have really well-defined processes and KPIs, that's something that, we can help, right? Help you roadmap that out and define those. We're implementing this in our business. We're helping other folks do it. So there's a lot of, shared knowledge there that we can dive into some basic use cases with them. But again, meeting them where they're at, right? They may not be ready for the full custom solution. Maybe just getting in and implementing something that helps them with very basic tasks that they either, don't have time for or are, just not doing because there's, no budget to hire someone. So if we can get some tools in that help automate some of these processes, just getting that work done, it's a pretty clear ROI.
Absolutely, it's a clear ROI, definitely. And I'm happy you are mentioning also automation, because people who follows me and they read, sometimes what I share on LinkedIn mainly, I talk a lot about, the merge between AI and automation, because, this is where actually the superpower happens. Saying that, let's talk a little bit about startups, small businesses. So usually these guys might say, you know what, why I should care? I'm just still a startup. Why I should care about adopting AI, or what I should worry about adopting something, even automation. Forget about AI. So from your perspective, do you think these guys will benefit, as a startup or small business, adopting the AI? Can they, overcome some of the challenges that maybe today they are not aware of? So what you can tell us about that area specifically?
If I'm starting up today, my business looks a lot different, right? I would be able to do a lot more myself. I would be able to have, my first few hires, get to a lot more, be able to make a more of an impact on the business, cover a wider range of tasks, because you can set up automation, right? And this is smarter automation with AI now. It's not just procedural. It's able to actually take in data, make decisions. So, I would have a whole different set of tools, maybe a different looking staff. If I'm a startup, I'm going to look for an AI solution first now, right? How do I automate this before I ever do it manually? So I'd write out a process, test it out, and then look for a tool to automate it. So I think everybody, really, if you're a startup, you should care even more, because as startups and small businesses are always strapped for capital, right? Larger companies can still afford to hire people. Now there's a challenge finding good people, right? Unfortunately, it's not always easy to locate a resource, and most folks want to focus on higher value work. So, really everybody should be looking at these technologies. One, it'll help you, build your business more cost effectively, scale your business more cost effectively, but it'll also help you operate your larger business more effectively. So, today I would start my business, very differently, right? I would have access to resources I didn't have when I originally started it, and I relied on people specialized in doing very specific tasks versus you could hire more generalists who know how to pull the right tools together, map out processes, and find the, right fit tool for the job.
Yeah, actually, what I wanted to tell you, Kat, is something which I faced personally, is, my podcast is a startup, right? So of course it's not a business, but I mean, I think about it like a startup. And what you just mentioned, it resonated a lot with me because, of course, it's not a secret that I rely myself on some automation and, like AI tools. And just to give an example, so maybe the audience will visualize and allow me to hear. So there is a journey for recording an episode. So Ken being, invited on the show and then having sent to him a link and then getting on this platform that we are recording. And then this is like pre-recording. So I automated kind of 70% out of it. And when I was doing it before, it was taking a lot of time from me. And then the post-production as well, like generating notes and, like summaries and all this. And then we have the tools that can also generate videos and so on. So think about, if I didn't have access to these tools, so either I need to hire people for that, and then I need, maybe I would went bankrupt because like it's this kind of a non-profit, podcast. So this is, I think, the point that you were highlighting, Ken. So startup, you need to do more with less. So that's actually the best, thing that a startup can do is to leverage automation, AI to get things done. So absolutely, I agree with you on this. So one of the things that also happens in AI, maybe we touched base on it, but people say like it's a hype. People, they say, it's, you remember when the internet came and, people were not believing and so on. So do you see still after now almost 1 year and a half when, of course the ChatGPT went out and so on. So do you see still some business telling you like, like it's just a hype, it cannot go, and it's, something it's not real. Do you still hear these comments, Ken, a lot? And if yes, like how do you, I would say, debunk, these common myths about AI in business?
I don't hear it a ton. I mean, I think you always have some folks who are resistant to change, right? Hey, I've done this for 30 years in my business. I don't need to change it now. But I think there's so many. The best way to get somebody out of that mindset is to show them the very basic things they could be automating, right? So again, this is where you don't take them down. So let's spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars building custom AI solutions for you where that'll just turn them off, right? You just show them, I think, the value of some of these tools. There's, of course, I think are some tools out there that are hype, right? You have to be careful. Everybody's building AI tools right now, AI for everything, right? But if you go back to some of those basic use cases, like we talked about earlier, content, customer service, stuff that every business needs to do, and it's hard to find people for. It's not glorious, glamorous work, right? I think that resonates with 90% of business owners. So it's just about making it digestible for them. But you'll always have people that are resistant to change. There's early adopters, like me, who just want to dive in and test out anything they could whenever it came out, right? And a lot of folks like that. And you have people on the opposite ends of the spectrum who will wait until everybody they know has implemented it, tells them it's great. Then they'll finally try it out. But I think it's just, like I said, making it digestible and not trying to, put the square peg in the round hole. If somebody's hesitant, you don't want to come in and try to or sell them on AI is going to do everything for them. And, just find something small where you can help them get a win, and then they'll start to see the value of it incrementally.
Yeah. This is something we see actually, as I was saying, in all the technologies that come. And, I'm happy that you mentioned, you like to try anything new, which is, like it depends, of course. In business, some people, they will not be kind of risk averse, let's say, and say, no, let me wait until, and this is just a normal, what even like Gartner, they call it the curve, the hype curve, and what things will be slowly adapted, fastly adapted, and so on. So absolutely on this one. Now, if you want to think about the AI from transforming the workplace, Ken, how do you envision this transformation to be like? And of course, like we say 5-10 years, in my opinion, like it's now long time. When I'm asking someone about doing any predictions, okay, what do you think about what will happen? I used to ask, when I started the podcast, I would say 5 years, 10 years. But now with the fast pace of how technology is changing, I'm saying like in a couple of years. I'm not saying like 10 years anymore. So tell me, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing you'll start to see is consistency in business because of AI. So you'll have virtual agents in every department that somebody new can ask questions to. The process is followed more closely that way, right? Right now, in training, when you talk to someone, it's like, well, Bob does it this way and Susie does it that way. And so you'll have more consistency in even how you onboard new employees and how they experience their kind of learning curve when they come onto a new job. You'll have more automated decision making. So things that have to wait and sit on someone's desk now can just go through a much more intelligent automation process that takes in more data points and makes a more intelligent decision. So you'll just see a lot of speed and consistency. You'll see new jobs opened up and a lot that'll allow folks to build more of their own, like low code, no code type of AI automations, just like we see now with some of the tools that are out there. So you'll be able to, basically make virtual agents for a lot of different things in every department. That's just going to exponentially increase how much more quickly we can grow and scale businesses. But again, that's not, for everybody day one, but that's really where I see the biggest opportunity down the road is this will start to integrate, and you'll have, regular employees doing certain jobs, and you'll have virtual employees doing other jobs, and it'll make everyone's life easier. We won't have as many conversations about doing these mundane, repetitive tasks and not feeling fulfilled and like we're doing high value work. So it's really going to change the employee-employer experience, both alike.
Now, it's good you mentioned about the concept of agents, because personally, I was so much impressed by, and honestly, because of the pace of the work and the podcast and everything going on, I didn't follow much, but even the early trials that I've seen last year with these automated agents, where you have multiple agents built over AI talking to each other, they're doing, you can give a task and they do it. Now, the question here is, with this, for me as an employee, what skills I should start to try to acquire today to be ready when this moment comes?
The ability to understand the business, the problems in the business, right? Let's just take it from a tech perspective. There'll be a day where, software engineering is automated, right? So you'll have a bot that builds software and then it gives it to a bot that deploys it, right? All that will be automated, but understanding the nuances of business and the problems in the company and, what technology would help solve those problems and being able to explain the value of that solution, those skills will never go away, right? So just in my space, I look at, the folks that are architects, that are really great business analysts, that are great product owners, product managers, right? Those jobs are tougher to automate, right? They require a level of EQ and understanding what's going on with the people in the business itself, economic factors. And I'm not saying that you can't put that stuff in a model, but it's a little bit tougher when you're dealing with a lot of nuances. So those skills, leadership skills, right? Being able to take the work that's being done and put it into some digestible format to give to your to manage upward, to manage your team, right? So there'll always be those skills, if you want to call them soft skills. But the skills that are not going to be easily automated, they're not, more repetitive and data driven. They require, like I said, a higher level of EQ and understanding of the, more of the world around you. So just build up those skills. I would tell everybody, try to also learn these technologies, right? If you're in tech, start looking at, how do I get into building AI, prompt engineering, model training, right? These types of jobs, because these are the jobs of the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And also on that one, Ken, like, do you think this will allow us to see, because you mentioned something like previously about, the low code, no code, and all these things. So do you think this is opening the door, which is already we are seeing, to have more entrepreneurs out there, people who can like really go out? They had this idea for a long time. They were not able to do it because they didn't have the resources, or, whether entrepreneurs, they're going to do it with someone, or like even solopreneurs, they're going to do it by their own. So are you expecting to see more of this in the near future?
I think we've been seeing a trend of more folks wanting to get into entrepreneurship in general. So it's exciting. I think these definitely, will lessen the barrier to entry in a lot of ways. It may also somewhat remove the uniqueness of what a business does, right? And you see that with a lot of even SaaS tools now. It's like if everybody uses the same applicant tracking system in a staffing agency, how different are they, right? So, technology as a differentiator starts to become less of the kind of the unique selling proposition of that business. And that's where you go back to the people, right? The people that are there, the people that you're interacting with. That's really why you work with a business. So I think that part stays the same, but I do think it will allow smaller businesses to be more competitive and more efficient with these tools, and it makes it easier to get to market. But you'll still have the same barriers, right? Eventually everybody will be using the same tool, and you have to still be able to communicate what's unique about your business and why someone should work with you. But it definitely is something that, you want to be looking at. You want to be launching your business with these tools. Certainly you don't want to be at a disadvantage over somebody else because you're not, using the same efficiencies and the tools that are out there for you.
Now, Ken, you mentioned also previously kind of other technologies that are emerging technologies. But which one you are personally excited of I would say, merge with AI? Because you mentioned like IoT, you mentioned a lot of things, but from your experience, which one like you think is really gonna make a huge breakthrough, maybe for the whole humanity, or maybe from business perspective? What are you excited about when it comes to AI plus something?
I like IoT in general, even without the AI, but just being able to access information wherever you go, right, is really exciting. And we haven't, even scratched the surface on smart cities and a lot of the things that, can be done with IoT, right? We're mostly using thermostats and watches and very basic things in our day-to-day lives. But I think the exciting thing about AI with IoT, if you look at use cases that we have now, like wearables, but being able to take all the data from, the different products that we're using, home products, the wearables, and make meaningful connections. So, maybe my watch is telling me that my body temperature is not where it should be at night, and it combines the data from my thermostat. My smart thermostat tells me that, I shouldn't be letting the temperature drop to a certain point at night, right? So taking all these different data sets together from IoT and actually making meaningful insights with them, just, being able to get data from multiple systems across different companies is a challenge right now. You're starting to see more integration, but once that all starts to mesh together, I think having all of this information, having it readily available and having it more intelligent with the AI will be a game changer.
It's gonna be a game changer indeed, I think, and I agree, 100% with you on this one. Now, I want to shift a little bit gear, and I know, like, also you do this mentorship, and like maybe we touched base about it before. And I know, like, on the profile, you use also some of your accolades, like the 40 under 40 nomination and so on. So tell me a little bit about the experience of, mentorship, and, what makes you feel, excited about mentoring startups and small businesses.
I think you learn some things along the way, right? I've been able to grow my company, so you want to give back. I think there's this. I feel call to help others, right? If I ran into certain barriers, if I can remove those for other people, so that's really why I do it. It's fun too. It keeps me on my toes, right? When you're helping startups and small businesses, you're really seeing a wide variety of issues that they're trying to solve, new markets they're trying to create. So it's really exciting. It's been one of the more rewarding things for me, just being able to connect with so many different types of folks and learn about so many different types of businesses that, don't exist yet, right? Or just in the infancy stages. So I really enjoy that. I think just in general, giving back to the community is really important as well. So outside of mentoring startups, we get involved with some other local groups around here. One of them tries to expose middle school children to technology and different technology careers out there. So I try to give back as much as I can and try to, pay it forward, take the things that I've learned in my career and with business and try to help others out as much as time allows me to.
That's fantastic, Ken, to hear. Now, as we almost come to an end, final words to fellow entrepreneurs, because I know, like, you've built your company also by yourself. Any final words of wisdom, I would say, you would like to share, and tell us where the audience can find more about you and your company.
I'd say AI or not, stay curious, always look for a better way to do something. When you're an entrepreneur, being dynamic, being able to pivot, being able to look at new opportunities, new tools, new technologies is very important. You can't kind of say, well, I've been doing it this way forever and that's okay. That's really I think kind of the staple point of being an entrepreneur is that you're able to, see the unseen and move with different opportunities, trends, what have you. So I would just say, stay curious. And then as far as finding me, I'm pretty easy to find. You can go to kenpomella.com or my LinkedIn, Ken Pomella. If you were interested in just chatting with me, there's a form there you can fill out on my website. If you're interested in maybe getting some help from RevStar to help you set up more of a custom AI solution, help you get that data cleaned up and map out that journey. There's a link right from my website to RevStar as well.
That's great. I will put all these links in the show notes, Ken, so audience can find them easily. And really, I appreciate, your insight and, great, I would say, advices about using the AI in tech, whether you are a full-fledged big business or small business or even a startup. So thank you very much, Ken, for sharing this and sharing also your analysis about how and when and, the approach that they need to use to have a proper implementation of AI in their businesses. Because I agree with you, it's something that it's here to stay. It's, the thing that same way you mentioned it actually previously, like how we rely on the internet today, like we cannot do anything without the internet. So the AI would be the same thing. So thank you very much for sharing this and also the advices you gave for fellow entrepreneurs. I really appreciate that. And this is how I end my episodes. So this is for the audience. If you just discovered this podcast by luck, thank you for passing by. I hope you enjoyed. If you did so, please give us a thumb up and subscribe. We are available on all the podcasting platforms, and we also are available on YouTube. And if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, wherever you are in the world, please reach out. If you have a story to tell, you are up to something interesting, you are giving back to the community, same what Ken is doing, reach out to me. I would love to talk to you, and then we can find a time and set up something for us together. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll meet again very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.